When I married Claire, I thought I'd finally found peace. She was 5 years younger, full of energy, laughter, and dreams. I was 35, a quiet construction business owner who had already faced more heartbreak than I cared to count. Claire brought color into my life. Or at least that's what I believed. She'd look at me like I was her safe place, the man who made her feel grounded. I never imagined that the same eyes would one day lie without blinking. Our relationship started with balance, or so I thought. I worked long hours, she handled her small online boutique, and in the evenings we'd share a bottle of wine while talking about future plans. She wanted a house near the lake, a vacation in Greece, and maybe, when she felt ready, a family. I agreed to wait. Love teaches patience, or maybe it blinds you enough to ignore the warning signs. The first cracks appeared 2 years in. Claire began going out more often, networking, she said, events, friends' birthdays, spontaneous weekend trips. Her phone became her closest companion, always face down, always with a soft smile she reserved for the screen. I convinced myself she needed freedom, that I shouldn't become the overbearing husband stereotype. But deep down, a quiet unease started to grow. It was a Tuesday night when she came home smelling faintly of another man's cologne. I noticed, but I didn't say anything. Instead, I kissed her forehead and whispered goodnight, pretending not to feel the sting in my chest. The next day, she acted normal, making breakfast, humming to herself, scrolling through her messages. I almost believed it was in my head until I found the hotel receipt tucked inside her purse while searching for my car keys. The room was booked under her name one night, a downtown suite, 2 dinners charged to the bill. I sat in silence, holding that slip of paper like it was a confession written in ink. My first instinct was to confront her. But then I remembered something she didn't. The prenup she had laughed off as just paperwork before we got married. She thought it was symbolic, a formality. She didn't read the clause that protected everything I owned in the event of infidelity. That night, I decided I wouldn't scream or fight. I'd wait. Because sometimes silence cuts deeper than words. For the next few weeks, I played the part of a clueless husband. I still greeted Claire every morning, made her coffee just the way she liked, 2 sugars, no cream, and kissed her cheek before leaving for work. Inside, though, I was watching everything. The way she smiled at her phone, the late-night showers, the new lingerie that didn't seem meant for me. I started piecing together the puzzle she thought she'd hidden so well. Her younger guy, as I later learned, was a 25-year-old fitness trainer named Mason. I discovered him through a tagged photo, a gym selfie with her hand conveniently cropped out, but her bracelet still visible in the corner. I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I printed that picture, folded it neatly, and placed it in the safe where our prenup was locked away. Every lie she told after that just made the truth more valuable to me. Claire started coming home later, sometimes after midnight, claiming she was meeting suppliers. I'd nod, pretend to believe her, and ask if she needed dinner kept warm. She'd smile, relieved that I wasn't suspicious. That false sense of security was exactly what I wanted. Because when people think they're safe, they reveal everything. One Friday evening, she came home tipsy, her perfume too strong, her lipstick smudged. I helped her to bed, pretending not to notice the small hickey on her collarbone. Lying beside her, I realized how strange it felt to share a bed with someone whose heart had already left. She murmured Mason's name in her sleep that night. It wasn't the sound that broke me. It was the calmness that followed, like I'd been expecting it all along. The next morning, while she was still asleep, I went to my office and called my lawyer, Daniel. He was the one who drafted the prenup years ago. I explained what was happening and told him to start preparing the documents. He didn't ask for proof. The clause was clear. Any confirmed infidelity voided her right to marital assets. She'd walk away with what she brought in, which was almost nothing. When she woke up later that day, I acted normal. We had breakfast, she chatted about a business trip, and I listened, nodding. Inside, I was counting down the days. Because in exactly 1 week, I'd have every piece of evidence I needed. That evening, as she left for another meeting, I followed her quietly in my truck. The hotel she walked into wasn't new. It was the same one from the old receipt. This time, though, I had my phone ready to capture everything. I parked across the street, heart steady, camera rolling as she entered the lobby. Minutes later, Mason appeared, young, confident, wearing that easy grin of someone who thinks he's winning. They hugged, kissed, and disappeared into the elevator. Watching them vanish behind those metal doors didn't hurt the way I expected. I felt something colder, clarity. The kind that comes when the person you love turns into a stranger before your eyes. I stayed long enough to get what I needed, then drove home in silence. By the time she returned the next morning, acting exhausted from her supplier meetings, I had already sent the footage and hotel logs to my lawyer. I even left her coffee on the counter like always, pretending the world hadn't just shifted. 2 days later, Daniel called. Everything was in place, the legal notice, the evidence, the clause enforcement. All I had to do was sign. That evening, I waited for her in the kitchen, divorce papers on the table. When she walked in, still smiling from a text on her phone, I said calmly, "You might want to sit down." She blinked, confused. "What's going on?" I slid the envelope toward her. "You cheated, Claire. The prenup says you leave with nothing." Her face drained of color. "What are you talking about? That's ridiculous." I opened my phone, pressed play, and turned the screen toward her. There she was, laughing in the hotel lobby, kissing Mason. She covered her mouth, eyes wide with disbelief, then anger. "You were spying on me?" she shouted, voice trembling. "No," I said. "I was protecting what's mine, my business, my home, my peace." For a long moment, she just stood there, breathing hard, her hands shaking. Then the reality sank in. "You can't do this. I'll get a lawyer." "You can," I replied evenly. "But it won't change the clause you never bothered to read." She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the frame rattled. I didn't follow. I just sat there, staring at the papers until the sound of her car faded away. The next morning, Daniel confirmed she'd already signed. No argument, no plea, just silence. Weeks passed before I saw her again. She came to collect her things, wearing sunglasses to hide her tears. There was no makeup, no confidence, just regret. She didn't say much, only whispered, "I didn't think you'd actually leave." I looked at her one last time and said, "You left long before I did." And as she walked away, everything I'd built, my peace, my trust, my freedom, felt intact again. She had chosen a moment of thrill over a lifetime of loyalty, and I had chosen silence over revenge. But in the end, that silence made her lose everything.